Hello, everyone. Welcome to another LinkedIn Live Frosmo. I'm Mikael Gummerus, or Mixu, CEO and founder of Frosmo, and I'm super happy to have a nice guest with me today, Uri from Critical Software. Do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Yes, sure, Michael. First of all, thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. Well, I will try to keep my long story short, okay? So, I'm an electronic and telecommunications engineer that somewhere along the way fall in love by software development. And during my professional and student life, I discovered like a pattern, you see,
Mhm.
that for me to make everything a little easier to understand, to really got into the concept, it was really important for me to understand the application, where that thing fit into the world. So I start to adopt that. I always try to understand what is the purpose of something, and then it makes my life a lot easier to learn and to understand the abstract concepts or the theory behind the scenes. Somehow, I must say that that also had an impact on my professional life,
Mhm.
where as a technical guy, I always strive or work my path to be near to the business side, bridging the two worlds together. And that aspect is also responsible for my current assignment right now. That I'm a business development manager for e-commerce and retail vertical at Critical Software. Speaking about Critical Software,
Mhm.
so we are a company with more than 20 years and 1,000 employees right now
Wow.
that has a funny story. Our first, well, more than one, but the way that uh, our first client, you see, was NASA, and actually it is not a very usual history to tell. I will not go through all of that because it would take a little time and we can leave that for another moment. But imagine the honor to receive that assignment to make NASA systems more dependable, more reliable. In that way, that first mission tailor also our name, Critical
Yeah.
Software, and what we do. And what we do is to develop reliable, tailor-made solutions. So why I emphasize reliable? Because we mainly work in two big streams. We have mission critical on one side and business critical. Myself, I belong to a division that is called Digital Engineering Services that focus on business critical challenges. And it tailors naturally the way we work, the way we do our stuff, because it's really different from working, for example, in mission critical challenges. Okay, the speed, the way we do things is a little different and quite unique in our division. And in a short presentation, Michael, this is it.
That's fantastic, and I love the story about the name. So Frosmo is a company I founded about 10 years ago, and we're a personalization software,
Yeah.
primary for retail companies, but we support also other customer verticals. And our name comes from words friends, online, and money. So at that time, it was very fashionable for startups to create these names that didn't exist before. Right now, I think the fashion in startups is to come up with names that mean specifically something. But you guys are now at the head of the curve. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to handle hypergrowth.
Yeah.
Critical Software has helped many customers there and created models around that. And yeah, I'm going to also share a little bit about experiences when Frosmo was in hypergrowth mode. Currently, we are running very steadily growing profitable business, but we took quite a significant leap at some point with investors backing us. So we're going to share nice stories. Before we jump into the first question, uh, you spend I heard that you and your family spend a little bit of time on the other side of the pond, as they say. So can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, it was quite an adventure. Well, my wife was invited to do a post PhD in Brazil,
Hmm.
and we went there for 2 years, and we after that we extend our presence there. Our daughter was born in Brazil. And after 6 years, we had the pleasure also and the opportunity to return to Portugal. And that's why when I went entered to critical software.
Okay, fantastic. And I heard you had also a furry friend with you. How did you manage to get him back to Portugal?
Oh, that was quite a mission, you see, because travel with a dog from Brazil to Portugal is not easy. To say the truth, it was the most challenging part, you see, because my dog, like my father used to say, well, my daughter had a horse of the size of a dog, and we had a dog of the size of a horse. So he's quite big. He's in the next room. I hope he doesn't try to get into this conversation. But yes, he was part of the family, and for sure he had to return with us. I was a little nervous during the flight because I didn't know how he was doing, but in the end everything went okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That must have been an adventure. So,
sure.
okay, so you guys had this adventure in Brazil, and you guys decided to come back with Portugal with a nice family and a huge dog. So, how on earth did you then end up with Critical, and how Critical made this choice that you guys want to help companies that are in hypergrowth mode?
Okay. Well, my first contact with hypergrowth actually started a little before entering to critical. To be exact, it started in Brazil because I was working there in a company that had a mission to execute a digital revolution on the agriculture with a strong focus on sugarcane and forestry sector. You see, inside of factories or usinas, as you prefer to call, there is a lot of technology applied already. But in the outside, there wasn't. Please don't get me wrong. Inside of each machine there is, but to cross off all of that data of that dance, those machines executing remote areas, and to feed these big holdings that need to have this data to optimize an operation that has a big impact on the profitability of the whole operation was quite a revolution. So my first contact with this kind of hyper growth, because we had to do a lot in very short time. We had a very strong core team, but we need to start scaling really fast to be able to, after receiving an investment from a investment fund, we had to do a lot in a short window of time. So that was my first contact with something like this. And I start feeling the pains and try to solve some challenges that are very unique. When I enter to critical software, well, we work in 10 different verticals. Fintech is one of them, e-commerce and retail is another. So I started to have had contact with companies that were also in this moment, and I can also say that I believe between 2017 and 2018, Critical Software and BMW Group created a joint venture
Hmm.
that is called Critical Tech Works. And they are an example of a company in extreme hypergrowth. Okay, they have a huge mission to change how the world moves, and it has also been a source of a lot of learning because, well, it is a different company, but we have close contact. We have colleagues there. We sometimes help also in their missions when they need extra capacity. So we have a lot of sources to learn and to adapt and to continuously improve our working models.
Yeah.
That's i- the sum up that I can do about how I started to have contact in critical software. Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. So, what are sort of the you guys have you personally have experience in this hyper growth stage, and Critical has a lot of experience working with companies in this situation and by themselves also. So, what are like the typical main challenges? What do you see when companies are in this hyper growth stage?
Yeah. Well, you see, Michael, there is something really common into these companies, right? Typically, what they have is a great core team that is able to do very fantastic things, and somehow, all because it is always different, they are not two alike. They are able to catch the attention of the market, meaning to stand out of the crowd. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
and they also grab, as I mentioned, the attention of the investment funds
Mhm.
that see the potential they have to grab a very big slice of the market if they have the capability, at least financial resources.
Yep.
So when they receive these amounts of money that in at the first glance they seem almost illimit, right? They need also to fulfill a lot of milestones that are not easy to achieve. Okay, so they enter a mode that I usually call speed above all.
Mm.
Okay, and to do all of those things that must be done, they have to scale their core team. It is not enough right now.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so to scale the team, there are two traditional approaches to do this. Basically, as far as I can see, they can go with an intensive hiring on one alternative, and the other traditional alternative is merge and acquisition with the pure intent to grow the team.
Yep.
Let's focus on first one. So intensive hiring. As we know right now, good resources are not there are not a lot in the market. So and good hiring takes time, right? But
Mhm.
your job when you hire someone does not end there because you need to onboard, train, engage, and develop, and all of that will distract at least part of your core team to execute that mission.
Yep.
Okay, so you imagine you are aiming to have a very fast-paced team, and you have to diverse part of your core team to help ramp up others, right? Let's focus now in the other alternative, merge and acquisition. What are the challenges there? The level of evaluation of companies right now is really high. It's not
Mm.
companies are not cheap right now, right?
Yep. Yep.
And we also know, I leave at least two processes of due diligence. We know they are not short, they are long, and even if you try to do everything to mitigate the risks, there are always something that you will discover after you acquire a
Mhm.
company, right? But when you acquire a company with the intention to grow your team, you need to ensure that two teams become one, and
Yep.
that is the second part of the challenge. Okay, because you don't want to see silos to emerge, people not mixing together as a team, and if people don't feel as part as belonging, in the end they will leave, affecting and putting in prejudice the
Mhm.
main goal that was to increase your teams. Okay, so bottom line of all of these, I believe that companies that are in hypergrowth, they are not traditional,
Mm.
and uh, put all the eggs on traditional approaches will not be a good bet because you are putting a lot of effort. And just to finish this idea that I'm trying to convey, there was a concept that I first contact when I was reading something about Netflix. Okay,
Mm.
that was called talent density.
Hmm.
And one of the things that is really important to have high performance teams is to have a high talent density. So when you grow a lot organically, you will affect your talent density. So you will affect your speed and your performance after, in the end, at least for a period of time. Have you ever felt this, Michael?
Yeah, that's really good. So I can totally relate to the examples and stories you said. So we were like five years ago or 6 years ago, we were about 20 people, the core team, and basically everyone shared the same room. So information was spreading out immediately, and everyone worked as a one machine. And then we started to experience this doubling, tripling growth, and we received a fairly significant investment sum considering that time, and we started to recruit really rapidly, and we ran into these problems where we didn't have proper onboarding, and we didn't have proper understanding of how to do the recruitments, and didn't have proper communication in place within the
Yeah.
company. So it started to resemble quite a lot of chaos quite quickly. And then we had to sort of slow down and start to build all of that, and in order to have sustainable business and business that can grow and make sense for everyone when they're joining the company and what should be done, and it helps the company in the long run.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when I think about this situation what Frosmo had and those examples what you have, that comes into my mind, like what is then in practice, what do you do when companies, for example, in this situation where they need to hire really rapidly people?
Yeah. Uh, I just want to make this point really clear because I believe that companies should grow organically. I don't
Mhm.
want people to get me wrong, okay? Because what I'm trying to say is that growing organically requires a lot of effort and ti- time. It's like trust. Trust is
Yeah,
something that we develop with time, not only doing stuff really fast, and trust is already there to exist. But so the what defines an alternative is to think, well, maybe I don't need to do everything alone.
yeah,
Okay, that is what we believe the way, for example, to help companies in this moment. So let's imagine, Michael, that a client, I prefer to call them a partner because that
mhm,
defines also the kind of way we relate with our
yeah,
clients,
absolutely.
comes to us and say, well, we just built a new marketplace and we need to have a very specific recommendation engine.
Mm,
Okay,
yeah,
for instance, as you know, we are a company that develop tailor-made solutions, and we can do it from scratch, right? The question
yeah,
is that the best approach for that case? Well, let's see. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
yeah,
One of the things that we do in this case is to ensure that we do not reinvent the wheel. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so we have partners such as Frosmo, where we look, share the challenge, see if there is a fit, and if there is, we can then ensure to our client, to our partner, that we will start with a strong offset. Okay,
Yeah.
that is provided by this solution because you already try, you already have done, most likely, I'm not sure, but some mistakes that will be avoided to be repeated by us. Okay, and we will have that as a starting point, then to tailor to the specificity together with our client to the specificity of his business. So that is one approach, one way to solve it. The other one is to hit the ground running. That is
Yep.
something that we learn throughout 20 years of experience. As you can imagine, it's not easy to hit the ground running without falling, meaning that we train our teams, what we like to call high performance teams, to gain the momentum really fast. Because if you don't gain the momentum, you will fall doing that. So when we insert teams in two companies that are in hypergrowth, they are unique.
Mm,
Why? Everything is changing really fast.
yeah,
Documentation is easily deprecated in the next day. Why? Because a new microservices was born and something became deprecated. Okay, so there is something that is really mandatory when you enter into these kind of environments. You need to be proactive. To
yeah,
what? To network, to bond, to understand the culture, and to discover what must be done to fulfill a certain mission that our partner is delegating to us. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
so how we do this, because we don't want to have or present the same kind of challenge that traditional approaches have, right?
yeah,
We insert what we call a core team, a special team, a team that has the ability to really fast learn the business specificity, to map the ecosystem of technology there is there, that starts to bond and create network with the
yeah,
client.
yeah,
And after gaining that momentum, almost hitting the ground running, that and they have usually they must have a very focus on delivering right from the start. We can then do what? Split like a cellular division
yeah,
process, okay? And then our client will not need to put more effort on ramping hours, guys, because the elements that are added to the team are ramped up by hours, okay? And this process can repeat as forever to ensure that we are able to scale to the size that we need to scale. The same process can happen, for example, imagine that we are working in a business domain, okay? And the
mhm,
client asks for our help to reinforce another business domain, but he wants to ensure that he does not lose knowledge
yeah,
with
yeah,
our work.
absolutely,
What we
absolutely,
can do is to divide our team. Part of our team starts to ramp up in that other business domain, and we help newcomers from the client to gain the knowledge, working side by side in a hybrid team, passing that knowledge and ensuring that no undesired dependency is raised on us. Because in the end, what we want to leave always, because we partner for a long time, is a smile in the face of our partners. Okay. And well, in a glance, in a
well,
very
that's really
short,
good.
yeah.
That's really good. As a business owner, then I would ask like, so how do you guys ensure that I get the right people, like the right team composition? How do you guys ensure that then?
Well, that is part of the magic, right? The first thing that we need to do is to invest a lot in our people. Okay, we
Mm,
are recognized by that. We invest a lot in not only training our people on the technical side, because that is really important, but is the core, and it's not enough. We also train a lot. The soft skills and all of that. The second thing is our team leaders are really motivated to know each one, and they become experts to combine the right people to assemble the right teams for the right context. So sometimes we assess what is the environment where we are going to insert a team. And when I say insert, it can be remote, okay?
yeah, yeah,
Because when we work today, especially nowadays, side by side, it can mean that we are working, for example, in different locations, geographic locations, but as a team, right?
yeah.
Um, and that is part of the trick, is to ensure that when we combine our people, we have in the end something that is stronger than the value of each one.
It's
And
very
we
good.
have been doing that for quite a while, and that's, well, we have been learning every single day.
I bet that sounds really good. Yeah, thanks for bringing up that
Yeah,
sometimes it doesn't make sense to build everything from ground up. So,
yeah,
yeah, you guys are following Frosmo's channel, so you might already know that we're a personalization engine. But I just wanted to highlight a little bit that personalization, of course, it means that, hey, company wants to offer unique user experiences to their end customers, and that has to be done in a very automated way, sorry, because otherwise there would not be enough resources for anyone to do it. And the especially like companies in these that have already amassed a little bit of scale, they start to think that, hey, this is something we should probably build by ourselves. But the truth is that it sounds like an easier concept, I mean personalization, than it actually is. So the first thing is that the system has to be very scalable and reliable. When you're showing, for example, product recommendations, it needs to understand if the product is available, when it's available, what are the attributes related to the product, and then how that is related to the person who's visiting the site, what are the characteristics of that person, and to match that and to do that in a scale, that's not very easy to build. The second thing that is quite easily missed when it comes to personalization is that you actually need really good user interface for the e-commerce team and marketing team. So it's not just about developers developing the scalable thing that is creating the experiences, but you have to be able to tweak it as a non-technical person. And building user interfaces, as a technical guy, it's a lot of work actually to make sure that everything works, and you can actually adjust those things. So I think those are things that are often forgotten or neglected. And then the third thing is that we've put a lot of effort into easy deployment, so that you really get started within a couple of weeks. You're up and running in a very impactful manner, and we've created this very industry specific. We like to call them blueprints, but these industry specific setups so that you're already up there at the best of your industry. But yeah, hey Rui, it's half an hour. That was fast.
It was really fast,
Yeah,
Michael.
it was a lot of fun to talk with you and to hear your story, your family story, and about critical software and how you guys help your partners to solve these challenges. Really nice insights. Thank you so much. And yeah,
I want to grab the opportunity to thank you, Michael and Frosmo, for the opportunity to be here. It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
thank you so much. And everyone who's listening, please reach out to me or Rui directly. You can see our emails from here.
Yeah.
If you don't get the emails, you can go to Frosmo's website and just refer that you heard this LinkedIn Live, and we'll be sure to reach out or connect you with Rui if you're reaching out to him. Thank you so much once again. I hope it was useful to everyone. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.